Given that we all know that resolutions such as this have meaning only in the sense that they are a bit of political theater used to make political points rather than advance any meaningful debate on important issues, I thought it might be appropriate that I embrace this meaning wholeheartedly this afternoon. So in that spirit of political theater, I'd like to offer a floor substitute to House Resolution 1367, one that I believe captures the intent of the forces behind this resolution. It reads as follows: a resolution urging Congress to stop those smarty-pants college kids and science nerds over there at EPA from trotting out some fancy-schmancy regulation supposed to save the earth. Whereas the Georgia House of Representatives supports air quality regulations that take into account factors both economic and environmental, but especially economic, okay, really just basically economic if you want to get right down to it. And whereas the EPA has had the audacity to consider emissions that latte-sipping, sushi-eating, Volvo-driving liberals blame for 85-degree March weather in Atlanta, hurricanes in Vermont, tornadoes across the country, and rapidly shifting ecologies across the continent, and whereas we feel unconstrained by actual science demonstrating the effects of greenhouse gases on climate, and whereas we think green energy development is for sissies, and the only way to create jobs and grow the economy is to make power a teensy bit cheaper, and whereas mountaintop removal to recover some of that cheap southern fuel levels entire southern landscapes and poisons creeks and streams that were in areas that once were valleys but happens in someone else's state other than ours, and whereas we think it is perfectly legitimate to wreck the environment of not just the U.S., but the entire planet just because the South has a lot of fossil fuels, and whereas the gains we have made in improving air quality accomplished through EPA regulations have not actually destroyed any industries or ruined our economy, despite a lot of whining and hand-wringing by leading up to the implementation of those regulations. And whereas we nonetheless remain committed to such attempts to incite unfounded fear of economic ruin and disaster as good political strategy, and whereas the people whose health would benefit most by reducing air pollution provide no meaningful financial support to organizations such as ALEC, and whereas we do not understand why tree-hugging, bunny-kissing environmentalists think it's such a bad thing to eat fish contaminated with mercury, since we know from Greek mythology that mercury actually makes you run really fast, and that may be why we have so many great young athletes in our state. Whereas we don't really have any forward-looking vision for our state or the country that will support both the economy and the environment, no plans to encourage investment in subversive efforts at green technology, or to overhaul a tax system that rewards profitable polluting industries, or provide incentives to consumers to embrace sustainable products like fuel-efficient vehicles, solar panels, and wind turbines. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Georgia House of Representatives, we would like to go on record in the annals of Georgia history that we don't give a hoot about future generations and the world that we are leaving for them, and would rather whip up our political base and pander to campaign donors by asking you, Congress, to tell the EPA to ignore mounting scientific evidence for the impending climate crisis and help powerful industries continue to pollute our air and atmosphere in whatever ways that generate the most profit. I hope you will consider my floor alternative. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.